What's going on, everybody? Y'all already know the vibes, man. And you know what time it is? The second major of the CDL season just finished. Can we just talk about Toronto Ultra for a second? I mean, what a Cinderella story. I don't think anyone had them making the finals, let alone beating FaZe in a best of 9 to be crowned champions of Major 2 or the second major. I don't even know what it's called. Who cares? Toronto came to play, man. They showed out. Gotta show love to them. And like I did after the last major, guys, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you an updated power rankings, in my opinion. To start off the updated power rankings, we already know who the best team in the game is still. Yes, they didn't win stage 2, but they got second and they won the first major. They looked fantastic all stage 2. Honestly, they looked fantastic in the major, besides the finals versus Toronto, where I was shocked that they got beat. But it has to be FaZe. FaZe is in the S tier, and in my opinion, they still are the #1 team in Cold War. And then we have a new team on the move. I think Toronto Ultra deserved to be in the S tier. I mean, they did win Major 2. It's them and FaZe with major wins. They beat every single top team along the way. They looked fantastic doing it. Their SND is by far the best in the league. They lost one SND the whole major, and they honestly threw it away. You guys probably know what I'm talking about with the Kleenex streak, I think it was. But gotta show love, man. Toronto Ultra are the second best team in the game, in my opinion, right now, and they belong in the S tier alongside FaZe. And that's it for S tier teams, in my opinion. I don't think you can honestly say there should be any other teams in this tier with Toronto Ultra and FaZe. And then moving down to the A tier, guys, the third best team in the game, in my opinion, you got to give it to Dallas Empire. I know they've been streaky, but at the end of the day, they got second in the first major. They got third at this major. You could say they clutched up. They got lucky as hell versus Minnesota Rocker in the winners bracket, but they did what they had to do. It's simple as that. They did what they had to do. Yeah, they had their ups and their downs. They kind of got beat down by Toronto, but they are the third best team in the game right now. The fact that they got third even after playing so hit or miss, in my opinion, was huge. I think it was clear that they are a tier below, at least for the time being. And then the next team in the A tier with the Empire, the fourth best team in the game right now, it has to be Minnesota Rock. They got first in their group in the regular season of stage 2. They got fourth overall in the major. And yeah, they got a little blessed versus Optic. Okay, the accuracy 1v3. They probably should have lost that round. They probably should have beat Empire in the winners bracket. If they beat Empire in the winners bracket, if they don't have that control choke, who knows how this tournament ends, right? It's only fair. I mean, they've played Optic twice now, especially once in the stage 2, the regular season part of stage 2. They beat them 3-0. They beat them 3-2 in the major. You know, they might have got lucky. They did get lucky, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Okay, so they are the fourth best team in the game, and I do have them in the A tier as well. And then coming in the number 5 spots, we do have the Green Wall. They are also in the A tier, right behind Dallas and Minnesota. They looked solid, man. I mean, it was an absolute heartbreaker to lose to Minnesota the way they did. You know, they got upset. Well, I guess you would call it upset in the winners bracket by the Ultra, who won the tournament. You know, I had them winning in my CDL pick'ems. I had Optic beating Toronto in the winners bracket. I had them making a decent run, but they just fell a little short. You know, they got 5th, 6th at the major. They got unlucky. You know, they definitely should have beat Minnesota. Okay, and who knows what happens after that. I still don't know if they would have gone any higher than 4th. But all 3 of these teams are so close to each other, in my opinion. Dallas, Minnesota, and Optic. I think any of those teams could honestly beat each other in any given series, right? I mean, they could even, you know, contend and beat FaZe and Ultra in series. The competition is there, but they aren't in the same tier. Not right now. They're just not. And then the last team I have in the A tier, guys, the 6th best team right now. Number 6 is NYSL, the Subliners. They had a very poor showing in the major, okay? They got 7th, 8th. They didn't win a map. I believe they got double 3-0'd. And it was just not a good showing out of them overall. I'm sure most of you probably saw Clay's tweet where he said his mental health, isn't at its best right now. I wish the best for him. Your mental health is the most important thing that you have, because it's you and yourself at the end of the day. Okay. You talk to yourself. Well, maybe I'm just crazy and I talk to myself 24/7, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you are your own thoughts 24/7. So they looked poor this weekend. They had a very poor showing. We get that. It was just one event. Yes, it happened to be a major. They looked great in the regular part of stage 2. So I don't think that any other team deserves to be higher than them on this list. I also think that they still deserve to be in the A tier. But now there's a lot of questions. Does Clay take some time off? If he does, that's huge. Clay, he didn't have the best stage 2, but he's been one of their better players so far in Cold War. He's also their leader, their captain. So that could be huge if he takes time off. And then you also look at Hydra, who's on their challenger, their academy team. Does he get the call up? There's a lot of question marks with this Subliners team. We don't know exactly how they're going to look moving forward, but I think right now you have to give them the 6th spot. They're still in the A tier. I think they can still compete with all of these teams in the A tier. It was a rough event. It was, but we need to see what happens before we make any other decisions about them specifically moving forward. And that's it for the A tier. Now we're moving on to the B tier and also team number 7 in my power rankings. This one's tough. I think you could go either LA Thieves or Seattle Surge, but I'm gonna go LA Thieves. Okay. I'm excited and interested to see how this team does moving forward. In case you guys didn't realize, they did recently bench Slasher for Draza, Kenny on the main AR, who played phenomenal in my opinion. But more importantly, this team only had 2 days of practice, guys, going into this major. Okay. And they still did pretty damn well for only that amount of practice. They got 5th, 6th alongside Optic, and they had a very hard run because they got dead last in the regular stage. Okay, they got dead last. That means they started from literally losers round 1, where they 3-0'd Paris. They reverse swept London Royal Ravens. They 3-0'd the Subliners, and then they ultimately got 3-0'd by Ultra, who did win the event. But the first 2 games in that series were very winnable games. Okay, so they have a lot of potential, and we haven't seen enough of them. But I will tell you this: I think with Draza in the lineup and Kenny on main AR, Draza and Kenny running that AR duo, and then TJ and Venom running the sub duo, they could potentially be a very punishing team moving forward. Now that's all up in the air because we don't know. Maybe 5th, 6th is their ceiling. Maybe it's not though. I think we need to give them some more time. And I think 7th is a good spot for them right now. I definitely think they're a tier below the teams in A tier, but they're there. I mean, they did beat the Subliners, who I have in A tier, but we just need to see more of them. We need a bigger sample size. And then the number 8 team, guys, I have the Seattle Surge also being placed in the B tier. They've improved a lot since the first stage, and I'm excited about them. It feels good that my boy Sammy got some help. He's the one who needs to be helping. He's been, but I'm just kidding. Sam's my guy. They've been improving. Okay. And that's the most important thing. This team of 4 has been improving from stage 1 up until this point right now. Now, obviously they didn't get the results that they wanted in the second major, but it's not always going to be best case scenario at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? They did beat the Florida Mutineers, and then they lost 3-1 to Optic, which, gave them a okay 7/8 placing at the major. But once again, they're a team that they're on an upward trend. Okay. They're not where they want to be. They're not a dominant team by any means, but they are getting better. I think it's only fair that we have them in the B tier alongside LA Thieves. You could probably swap them out if you wanted to go Seattle 7, LA Thieves 8, but I think both of those teams are the 7th and 8th best teams in Cold War at this moment. And then coming in at number 9, guys, also in the B tier with LA Thieves and Seattle Surge, I have London Royal Ravens. Some of you guys might think that's a hot take. You might be like, I don't know about that. Are they in the B tier? London looked like a completely different team with Paul X on the squad. Yes, they lost to LA Thieves in the major. They end up getting 9th and 10th in the major, but they're also another team that is improving. I think we need to give them a little more time with Paul X. You know, who knows? Maybe they decide to make another move. I don't think they will. Do I think they should? Well, that's a different story. But they got reverse swept by LA Thieves. So who knows if they were able to close that series out, how far they make it. You know, maybe they get knocked out the next round. Who knows? Or they make a run. But this team, you know, they're right there with Seattle, with LA Thieves. I think all three of these teams are around the same level. And I'm excited to see more out of them. I am. I'm excited to see what Paul X brings to the table and kind of how they look moving forward into stage 3. And then coming at the number 10 spot, guys, I have Florida Mutineers. They will be in the C tier. They will not be joining the other teams in the B tier. If you guys didn't see on Twitter, Slacked was benched after this major. Okay, we don't know who is taking a spot. We don't know is Havoc coming back into the starting lineup. Maybe it's Saints. Maybe it's Temp joining the Florida Mutineers, or maybe it's another Challengers players. We have no clue yet. At least I don't. I don't know about you guys. If you guys have more of an idea than I do, then who knows? But this team is very hit or miss. You know, they haven't been performing up to standards. They have two absolute superstars on their team in Big Wake and Skies, but they're just not getting the results that they want, that they really should be getting, right? And because of that, Slack, I guess, got the short end of the stick, if you want to, you know, if you want to call it that. He hasn't been performing well by any means. I don't think him and Neptune have been performing great by any means, but maybe this is another similar situation to the Minnesota Rocker, where they want to switch Slacked out for a faster sub who can really enhance the pace of Florida. Their C tier team right now, we don't know which direction they're going to go. Who knows? They might get a lot better going into stage 3, guys. They could. But for right now, I have them coming in number 10 and being in the C tier. And then coming in at number 11, it is the Paris Legion. I'm going to put them in the D tier, even though realistically, and I'm going to get some hate for this, Florida, Paris, and LAG should probably all be in the same tier. But for video purposes, we have a D tier. Okay, I need to have teams in the D tier. Paris is hit or miss, man. I think they definitely need to make a roster change. It just, Fire has been very underwhelming so far. I hate to say it's a young kid, you know, but he's had enough time. He's played in what, 2 stages now. He hasn't been putting up the results that he needs to be. He hasn't been performing. He hasn't been producing. And I feel like he is the person who just stands out the most. I think this Paris team could be a very good team. I do. I think they're, as I have them in the D tier, and I'm about to say, I think they're underrated, but I think they need to find a different fourth instead of Fire, in my opinion, if they really want to make that jump. Because right now they're just up and down. You know what I'm saying? They have no consistency with Fire. And yeah, I think they need a team change, but I do have them at the number 11 spot. And then lastly, I have LAG. I've kind of been cooking them, you know, for a while now. They're just the team once again. They got 11th, 12th alongside Paris in the major. They don't have enough impactful players on their team. They don't. I think they have the lowest ceiling out of all the teams in the CDL. They definitely need to make some sort of move. I mean, you see flashes of their potential. You do. But it's very rare. You know, they don't really have any consistency as a team. Like, they beat Atlanta FaZe. They beat FaZe, you know. Yeah, in my opinion, that was a trap game for FaZe. You know, that happens. That happens in sports all the time. FaZe thought they had no shot in hell that they were going to lose to LAG, and they ended up losing. You know, LAG won both SNDs, whatever. There's just not enough there. They got to make some sort of roster move. I don't even know what could be possible, but I have them as the worst team in the league right now. I'm sorry, because I actually do fuck with all the guys on LAG. It's not like there's any bad blood or anything like that. I just think right now they're not doing it for me. So they get worst team in the league, in my opinion. But those are my updated power rankings after the second major of the CDL season, guys. Let me know what you think. I think this is pretty spot on. I think this is fair. Yeah, you could probably say Florida, Paris, and LAG should all be in the same tier. Like I said, you know, I got to do it for video purposes, but I think this list is good. Let me know if you would swap any teams out, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. We are so close to 25,000 subs on YouTube. If you're rocking with the kid, man, show me some love. Go ahead and just throw a subscription on the channel. If you don't like my future content, you can always unsubscribe. It doesn't cost y'all a damn thing to show me some love, because you know I'm showing y'all love. So show me some love back. You know what I'm saying? But have a good one. Until the next video, stay safe, stay healthy. Y'all already know what I'm doing. Peace.